I know.
I am worn out. I know you are.
But it was so much fun. You would have had a blast.
I know it. I wish I could have gone.
You
If I would have had the
Parks and
money
Rec
to
Department or something like that.
rent
It
me a
was
room, I
so
would.
much fun.
She's so pretty.
I can't wait for you to see the pictures.
She is such a pretty girl.
It is now 5 o'clock. We will begin the workshop for the Board of Mayor and Aldermen, October the 7th, 2014. I would like to remind everyone that this is being televised live. A prayer for the meeting for October the 9th, which will be this Thursday. Alderman Waldron, you will have the prayer, and Alderman Broker, you'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. We do have 2 sets of minute meetings. We need to look over the public hearing for September the 2nd and then the regular meeting, so please review those for a vote. We have some presentations. We have 3 different presentations for that night, and we'll move right into old business. Second reading, ordinance 2014-21, an ordinance to amend the City of Laverne ordinance as it pertains to signs, received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on August the 26th, 2014. There will be a public hearing on Thursday, October the 9th, at 6:30. This is the second reading, and this is pertaining to the signs for large box retail. Do we have any questions? Kristen is here. I see no questions. I'll move right along. Consent agenda items. A, approve recommendations for city bids and purchases. First on the agenda is emergency purchase for generator repair at Fergus Road Pump Station.
Good afternoon. Basically, we just wanted to make y'all aware of what we had to do here. Fergus Road Pump Station, our largest pump station, the control board and our backup generator failed. So we had no backup power in the event of a power outage. So we had to make an emergency purchase to get Thompson Cat in here to install and replace the control board. So we'd have power in the event of an emergency or power failure. So that's just basically just wanted to make y'all aware of that.
Had to be done. Any questions?
And since this purchase was, or the repair was over $5,000, it does need to come before this council for approval, so that's why you have it tonight.
All right. Next, purchase used dump truck for water and sewer departments.
Yes, ma'am. And again, this is something that we're requesting with the approval of the board. Requesting a new dump truck, or actually it's a used dump truck. The one that we currently have, it's going to be Unit 504 that we're replacing. Basically, it's on its last leg. It's a gas dump truck. We're wanting to purchase a diesel dump truck. We go into a subdivision that has hills. We literally have to stop the dump truck, take the piece of equipment off the dump truck, and walk the dump truck to wherever the break or the problem is. It will not pull up a hill whatsoever. So we're wanting to purchase the diesel engine, a lot longer life, just a lot better piece of equipment. The actual cost on it's $41,930. There was a mistake there on the budget amount. Or no, I'm sorry, it's there. We had budgeted $75,000 for it, so the difference is roughly about $33,000 that we're not going to be spending. So just asking for your approval on that.
What year is the truck?
It's a 2009 International.
Any questions? Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, ma'am.
Excuse me. Next, sole source purchase tasers for the police department.
Sole source is requested because of it being a taser product. That's a company name, but it is the electronic devices. And we're also asking because this is a justice assistance grant that we received. It's $7525. The 75 coming from the feds is $14,998, and city dollars are $49.99, but that's already in the budget for this year under small equipment, so it is not an addition. It's funds that are already there. So that's the reason we're asking for the sole source. We've been approved. We have the grant in hand, and we're ready to go now and go out and purchase the new tasers.
Sounds good.
Any question?
Any questions? Thank you, Chief. Next, approved list of streets to pave for fiscal year 2014-2015.
Afternoon, Mayor and Alderman. This will be the streets that we're going to pave for this budget year. I think we talked back during the budget hearings that we were going to try to get Walden Road and Jefferson Pike paved. It went over a little bit on the Walden Road project that I was wanting to do. I went on and had it done because of the fact it was paved back in 2010, but it was not properly done. And so instead of having it in sections, we done it all from Rock Springs Road all the way to Stone Ridge right there at Station 2. Also, I want to add, with Jefferson Pike being on that.
And we discussed this at great length at the budget hearings. These are two roads that have been on the discussions. We put them in the budget. They've
I
been
try
in
to
the
take the
budget.
worst of the worst.
Yes. So, I mean, we talked about this at I believe, and also at the retreat, if I'm not
Yes,
mistaken.
yes.
So, I mean,
This
these
is what I
two-
had from last year.
Yeah. These were the two that we've all had on here forever. And, I think we talked about the budget. I mean, might have to take some from street aid. I think even back then we discussed maybe having
yes.
to do that.
But this on there will be from Old Nashville Highway to Murfreesboro Road.
And I'm one of these, if we're gonna do all of them when you've got a big stretch like that. So, and like I said, we've had this has been in discussion now. Well, for 2 years, I know 2 budget years.
Yes.
And then this year we
Yeah,
said these were our 2 biggest.
We didn't have enough last year
Yeah.
to even start on either one of them
So.
that we had left.
So this is something we've planned on
Any
from
questions?
the beginning.
I really like the lights that was put up out there on Walden Road. It makes a difference at night when you come through there.
What lights?
The lights on the right.
Lights have been out there as long as I've been around here. You talking about the ones down by Miss Evie's house?
Yeah.
Them 2? Oh, in the curb, yes, sir. Yes, sir, I had them put up because it was,
Makes a difference when you come through there, like,
yeah. I understand what you're saying now. Yeah, them 2 in the curve there, I did have put up last year, I believe.
I think the older I get, the more I like street lights.
It's because
You need
we
street lights,
can't
maybe you
see,
need to stay at
isn't
home.
it?
Any more questions?
Thank you, Garland.
Thank you.
On this item, of course, normally we do ask for the approval prior to the paving actually starting, and unfortunately, we failed to do so this time. But since Waldron Road came to be $190,000, the striping for that and Jefferson Pike is going to be right around $9,000. We only have about $100,000 remaining to do Jefferson Pike. The estimate that we have is between $115,000 and $120,000. So in order for us to do Jefferson Pike, we'll need to do a budget amendment for the State Street Aid Fund to bring that additional revenue. We have enough revenue in our fund balance for State Street Aid to cover that. We'll just need to do a formal budget amendment to get that moved over. So if the board is okay with that, we'll put that on the agenda for Thursday night as well, so we can get the first reading done on that.
Because paving time is about to end, is it not?
Yes. November,
I know
Thanksgiving.
we're pushing it.
Yeah, Thanksgiving's pretty well the cutoff date for any street paving like that. And if we get it approved, I've talked with Bruce. He has tentatively set it for the last week in October. He said, they were here for 3 or 4 days working, and then they had to go back to Murfreesboro. I think they had 48 streets to be paved up there, but he's saying, from the email I got from him, was the last week in October, weather permitting. You know, they can run up to, weather permitting, Thanksgiving is usually when the state shuts them down.
Yep. I knew we were getting close.
Yeah.
And we are looking at the possibility of having a special meeting here in a couple of weeks. So if we do that, we can have the second reading of this ordinance on there at the same time, so it won't slow down the paving schedule.
Excellent.
Right now, I have got him to commit to that week if, you know, the weather don't just change, but, you know, I told him to keep us on the schedule
Excellent.
while we got it approved, or for the rest of it.
Sounds good.
Because I think we started out and I told him we make it do just half of it. And so, you know, I was talking to Bruce, we decided maybe just to do a budget amendment so we can do it all at one time.
That sounds good.
All right. Any more questions?
C, approve Amendment 2 to the grant contract 2015-37 between the Greater Nashville Regional Council and the City of Laverne.
That's a standard one that we've been doing.
Okay.
It's not, I don't think there's any changes to it.
Yeah, it actually changed some maximum liability language in the agreement. This is the second amendment to this grant for this fiscal year, so it's a minor change
Okay.
for this agreement.
All righty. And D, approve contract 2011-203C between the Regional Transportation Authority and the City of Laverne for the provision of regional bus service.
This is the annual contract we do for the bus service between here and Nashville and Murfreesboro. Normally this gets approved closer to June or July, but they didn't send it, or we didn't get it, and we didn't check up on it, so we're just now getting it to get it approved. So this is the annual contract that we do with them.
I'd like to add that this is the last year of the
grant.
federal grant funding for that program, and our cost will increase significantly next year.
And
What is
next year we'll have to decide whether or not we want to.
It's like, I think, just our portion was gonna be like, what,
70 or
75?
80,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be very high. But we do need to be thinking about. Okay, any questions? E, approve change order number 2 for the small diameter water line project.
Good evening, Mayor and Aldermen. Change order number 2 will add $135,474.20 and 45 calendar days to the small diameter water line replacement project. There are 3 primary components to this change order. One of the components is in regards to installing new 6-inch water main on the dead-end portions of Rose Street, which is located off of Greenfield Drive on Old Nashville Highway, and Carlton Drive, which is located off of Blue Valley Drive off of Old Nashville Highway. Currently, the existing 6-inch water main on Rose Street does not extend past the intersection with Taylor Drive, which results in long service lines from the existing water main to each of the meters in each of the properties. These long service lines have required frequent service by the city's water department. This change order would abandon those long service lines, installing a new 6-inch water main down those portions and connecting so that the service lines are shorter, and it would also install a new hydrant at the end of each of these lines. For Rose Street, it is existing paved asphalt. It would be replaced and repaved for the full street width. For Carlton Drive, this portion is gravel, and we would replace it with new gravel so that it would be brought back to its existing conditions. The second component of this change order will add 8 new fire hydrants throughout the city as requested by the fire department. 2 of these hydrants are located on Waldron Road, where one is near the Enterprise Boulevard intersection in front of the Quicksack. The other is at the Hellquaker Boulevard intersection in front of Ryder. 3 of them will be located along Mason Road, where one is at the entrance of the Mason Road Distribution Center. There will be one near the entrance of the McKesson property, just south of Sanders Drive, and the third is just south of the Dixie Earth Movers property. The 3 remaining hydrants would be located on Waldron Road between Lake Road and Martins Bend Drive. The subdivisions on the west side of this road they currently have hydrants located throughout. However, the homes on the east side do not have any existing hydrants that are easily accessible. The third component of this change order would account for 2 unit price items that were discovered during construction. There are a few 2.5-inch diameter water mains that were discovered that need to be cut and capped and abandoned. And these require a custom fabricated cap due to their unique size. And there's one fire hydrant that needs a 4-foot extension due to the depth of the water main and the grade in that area so that it will not be buried once installed. The original contingency budget for this project was $213,291.50. Change order 1 used $31,165, and change order 2 will use $135,474.20, which will leave a contingency budget of $46,652.30. At this time, the contractor has completed all of change order 1, and he is ahead of schedule for the water main installations for the original contract scope. So we would recommend this change order. Do you all have any questions?
I would like to make a comment. In one of the subdivisions where we have put the 2-inch, went from 2-inch to the 6, and we added fire hydrants, one of the citizens contacted, I think it was Mr. Blair, and because of the hydrant and the work done on these water lines, his insurance premium went down $200 a year. So that's what we keep telling people. These changes will make a difference, and he's got proof of it right there. So it's working. We knew it would take some time, but that alone made up the difference right there that we said it would make up in the increase in taxes. So it is working. I thought you guys might want to hear that, and I'm sure we'll be hearing it more and more as these lines get completed. The hydrants, are turned on and everything. I think you're going to really start seeing some differences here. Just thought y'all like to share that information with y'all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. F, approve donation/sponsorship agreement with the Land of Frost for the Laverne Youth Baseball Softball League.
They, for in exchange for putting their logo on our uniforms, they have graciously agreed to donate $4,500 for that. So
Wow.
I don't think it's a good idea to turn away free money anytime, especially well, it's not actually free, it's an in-kind thing. So, but yeah, they're very helpful. We like that relationship.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. Any questions? All right. Well, moving right along to new business. Motion to appoint or remove board members. First, we have Stormwater and Appeals Advisory. Yay. We've got 1 vacancy, and we have 3 applicants, Chuck Dillon, Teresa Hesse, and Kenneth Perkins. That's great. Next, we have the Construction Board. The Construction Board of Adjustment and Appeals, we have 1 term vacant there, no applications at this time. Next, we have Parks and Recreation Advisory. We do have 1 term vacant. And actually, we have 3 applicants there, so we'll need you to maybe look over see which ones you'd like. And then next we do have Planning Commission, and wow, this is exciting. We have one term vacant, and Jean Marie Dreyer, Ken Perkins, Kyle McElroy, and April Bach. So we're starting to get people in, and we may want to look at some of these other boards and ask them, you know, if they don't get the boards that they signed up for, maybe they'd be interested in some of the other boards that are available. So this is exciting. And same with Beer Board. We have one term vacant and 2 applications. So this is amazing. Local Emergency Planning. A request has been made by the Rutherford County Emergency Management Agency to change their representative from Tim Hooker to TK Cass. He is the director of the agency. Everybody knows TK. So TK will be coming to us now for LEPC. All right, good. Exciting to see people signing up. Excuse me. Next, we have first reading, ordinance 2014-22, an ordinance to amend the 2014-2015 fiscal year general fund budget for changes to the Parks and Recreation Department staffing.
Yeah, what this is us trying to add a maintenance person to our department, which with all the changes the city's going through and the buildings being as old as they are and the addition of the fire department, a full-time maintenance person is sure going to help us expedite some of these projects a little bit quicker, and also cut down on the fees that we incur when they just come out, because there's always a fee for just showing up, and then of course the work itself. So that position, I'd say, will probably pay for itself within the first year, 2 years tops. And plus a lot of things that we have to wait for, 3 quotes for, or bid it out. This will solve a lot of those issues right there. There will be some stuff that we still have to contract out, but for the most part, we'll be able to take care of, I'd say, at least 75% of everything in-house.
And we discussed this again in
Yes.
great length.
And it is not a maintenance department, but it's the next best thing. It's the first step in that direction. And,
Right.
and I mean, a maintenance department would be ideal, but this is a good step in the right direction. Any questions about it?
One thing I think we need to clarify, make sure everybody understands, is in the process of this budget amendment, we're actually deleting several part-time positions. The money is the same. We actually are putting more money back into the fund balance, so actually coming out a little ahead. But we're eliminating, I think it's 6 part-time positions to have this one full-time maintenance position in there. So just want to make sure everybody understands that we are eliminating those part-time positions.
Any questions? All right, moving right along. Resolution 2014-29, a resolution to adopt the 2014 home program policies and procedures for the city of Laverne.
Mayor, I can speak a little bit to it. This resolution adopts these program policies and procedures, which outlines basically the program that the residents have to follow to apply for the grant, and all of the rules and regulations that they have to follow. It's pretty substantial. It's several pages of policy there. So this just adopts it for the $210,000 that we were awarded in the home program. And puts us the next step closer to helping these people out.
Sounds good. And I do think that they have to live in the home for 5 years, I believe.
It's several. I'm not sure the exact
I
number.
didn't know if they changed that, but I know in the beginning they have to live in it for 5 years. Once they receive the grant, they have to live in the home. So, good. Next, Resolution 2014-30, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment to the ground site lease agreement with SBA Communications Corporation for the cellular tower located at the water treatment plant.
Mayor, the company that owns the tower over at the plant is wanting to extend the term of the existing lease agreement. I believe it's by an additional 20 years. It's 4 additional terms of 5 years each. Evan has reviewed the contract. There's some language in there that they are adding that we're not happy about. We have sent that back to SBA and have not heard a response back from them. We'll leave this on the agenda for now, but if we don't have a satisfactory agreement by Thursday, we'll probably take this off or ask the board to defer it more than likely. I don't know how quickly they'll come back with changes, if any, but there almost seems like they're trying to sneak some things in there on us.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it.
We want to make sure that we're not taking advantage of it, basically.
If it won't let that happen to us. All right. Well, we'll know more.
We'll know more by Thursday, and of course, 20 years is a long time to be thinking
Yeah.
about, so.
Yeah. Okay. Next, number 10, Resolution 2014-31, a resolution to accept Pinnacle Point subdivision Phase 3, received a favorable recommendation from the Planning Commission on September the 30th, 2014. And Krista and Kyle, all, everything's been completed?
That is correct. A punch list was generated from the codes department. All of the improvements came back in compliance with all the respective departments. I've got a copy of the as-built drawings as required, and we do have the draft maintenance letter and the irrevocable dedication form. So in the past, the board generally, if they're going to make the motion to approve, they generally give the developer 15 days to have that recorded. So everything's been done.
Perfect. Any questions? Questions? Okay. Number 11, Resolution 2014-32, a resolution of the City of Laverne Board of Mayor and Aldermen to declare certain property owned by the city to be surplus to the city's needs and directing disposal of the same. Any questions on what we're doing there?
This is basically just getting rid of old and damaged signs that have been removed from service.
Any questions? Not seeing any questions? Number 12, motion to approve an agreement with SB Services, Inc. to conduct a telecommunications audit for the city of Laverne.
Here again, Mayor, this is an agreement that Evan has reviewed, and there's some changes that he has requested. Basically, this company comes in and does an audit of all of our telecommunications, including cell phones, our office phones, internet services, things like that. And they look for billing mistakes or errors or different things to try and save the city money. As how they get paid, they get 50% of all credits and refunds that are found for the past, and then they also get 50% of all the savings realized for the next 12 months. But they don't get anything up front. They only get half, basically, of what they find. We are working with them to try and get the agreement as we need it to be. So hopefully by Thursday we'll have something more definitive, ready to go. But in the long run, this will save us money once we find these mistakes and errors and get them fixed, or get a refund back on these accounts. And I mean, telecommunications, Glenn can help me out there, is a big part of our budget, especially in the IT department. I think our cell phone bills are in the neighborhood of $100,000 per year. And then our office phones, I'm not sure the dollar amount there, but it's a substantial bit of money, and if there are any errors in there, we can realize some big savings there. So that's all we're trying to do, is save some money in the long run.
Any questions? I see no questions. Moving right along. Number 13, motion to approve a rental agreement with CYM Productions for a drive-in movie at the Veterans Park on October the 10th, 2014.
Friday.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, our first one, and hopefully not our last if it goes as we're hoping that it will.
And Evan, you've looked over,
Yes, ma'am. As a matter of fact, they took out some I wanted taken out. They did it pretty quickly, so. it's good.
awesome. And that starts at what time? Let's go and get that,
We have that at 7 o'clock. Is that right, John? Yeah.
get that out there. Sounds
Weather
good.
permitting.
Any questions? Sounds like fun. Number 14, motion to approve a software and hardware support services maintenance agreement by and between the City of Laverne, United Utilities, Inc., and Badger Meter, Inc. Who wants to give us info on that?
I can start off. If there's any questions, others will have to get involved. But basically, this is the software hardware support for the AMR system, the laptop that we have, and then the software to read the AMRs and things like that. We have been using this service for a year, close to a year now. And this is the next year's support. Here again, Evan has reviewed it. There are changes that he wants in this contract, and hopefully we'll have those changes ready for Thursday night.
All right. And again, when we got the AMRs, this was understood, this program, so we knew this was coming. It's not anything that we were not made aware of. If I see no questions, we'll move right along. Motion to approve an engineering services proposal for the design of the salt barn at Public Works.
Mayor, this is, if you remember last year during the ice storm we had, the salt barn that we've had for 25 years collapsed. And with the insurance company and all being involved, we're having to rebuild. But to rebuild, I found out I've got to get a design build for it. And I think it's through Mark Hours in Murfreesboro. I think it's for like $6,500 just to design, you know, to have it, get the design to build it.
Yep.
And here again, Evan has reviewed this contract. There are a few things that he would like to see changed. So we're working with Mr. Hours to make those changes, and I think we should have this one finished by Thursday night. So we'll have a final version ready.
Sounds good. Any questions? No questions? Moving right along. Discussion, city acquisition of property located adjacent to Fire Station 3 on Bill Stewart.
Mayor, last month we had discussed basically doing a land swap with Amnon Schreibman. Of course, the city owns some property on Old Nashville Highway across from the Civic Auditorium that was purchased with the fire department. And we've talked about doing a land swap for this property here located adjacent to Station 3. The values are very close to the same for both properties. However, in our discussions and looking at this, we found that there is a sinkhole on this property located next to Station 3. Kyle has gone out there. There's actually some pictures in the packet of the property, and he found where the sinkhole is located, and he could speak more to that. But if we're going to proceed with this, we will need to write up a contract with Mr. Schreibman to do the land swap, and as a part of the terms of that contract, we need to add a due diligence section that would allow us to go in there and basically dig up that sinkhole and determine what kind of flow it will take to see, and Kyle can explain this better than I can, so that we can see how that property is going to drain and how we need to design it in the future. And please ask Kyle more about that, because I'm not an engineer. So, but basically, that's what the possibility is that we're looking at doing. The fire department is going to possibly use that for additional parking for their building. And if you look at the pictures, you can see that the drive that goes beside the building is actually on the adjacent property. It's not on city right-of-way or the city property. So, you know, we're using it already, so to speak.
I gotta think about this one. The property that we have over there on Old Nashville, is that in the flood zone? Floodplain? Does anybody know?
I don't think it is.
I don't think it is. I think it's on the, I don't think it is. I think it's on the verge, but it's definitely got that drainage area
Yeah.
on that lower side. But I don't think it's considered floodplain. I don't have flood map here. I'd look at that.
I didn't know if you knew that off the top of your
Like what
head.
Bruce is talking about, I definitely would do a geotech or something
Mhm.
in the contract on looking at this to make sure this sinkhole is confined to just that one area and it doesn't open up underneath the ground and kind of go out under where you want the parking area or anything. And also just to make sure it will take the flow that we need it to take, which it probably will, and it probably doesn't open up, but definitely need to, you know, get those answers before we make this swap, if that's what the board chooses.
And we had met with Danny Womble a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about this property, and they had never tested that sinkhole to determine what the flow might be. So that's something we definitely need to do before we go through with the swap.
Any other questions, comments? Ricky, any input? Okay.
As Kyle said, my concern is that sinkhole. I know when we did the dye test years back, over the flooding and all, I do know it goes to the stream there. We do know where the water goes. Like I said, we don't know to what extent, what type of sinkhole that is, whether it splinters out, it's got caverns underneath, or if it's just a straight shaft. So, I mean, obviously that would need to be looked at. If it splinters back under the property, I mean, there's really not a lot you can do. So,
Right, I mean, with it being private property, I mean, why don't we go out there and look at it right now? It's private property, so it's kind of something that, you know, Evan can work out in the contract.
We want the ability to get out of it if it turns out we don't want it. I mean, that's the bottom line.
And Ricky, can you talk more about your proposed uses for that property? I know parking. What else were you guys looking at doing
The biggest
there?
problem we're having right now is, you know, we use that not only for the police department, uses it as a training center at times. Obviously, we use it, we just had classes there today. There's just not enough parking. There's plenty of parking there for the staffing of the station, for the fire service portion. But because we put the training facility in there as well, there's just not enough parking to accommodate it. We park out on that roadway. In fact, we're actually using that lot with Mr. Shriven's permission, provided it's not raining. That's why we keep that front section mowed, to keep it as dry as we can, because we're using that parking as well when we have classes and things. And we're looking for those classes to even increase even more, because we've got 11 CPR instructors as of today. So we're going to have the public in there as well. The backup dispatch center is up and running as it is right now. The main center is down. That adds 3 more cars, plus the patrol units have nowhere that they can go and they have to pick up paperwork. We're also looking at, that would be more of a hard surface area for parking, but also for training for aerials, pump operations. Because the sinkhole's there, obviously I talked to Kyle a little bit about the retention area being utilized right in that area. There's a good possibility we'd also be able to pump test our our own apparatus if we put a holding area there, and we would just be reutilizing water out of the retention pond.
A lot to think about.
Oh, there's multiple uses. I mean,
Yeah.
we really don't have a training ground now. We use parks. When we can get in their parking lots over there, because we have to set up, police department as well, we have to set up a pretty large area to do our EVOC training annually. So we have to use the park, but hopefully that would be a big enough area there for us to be able to set up things like that as well. Not only for us, but for parks, for the police department, for anybody else that needs to take, driving courses and things like that. I mean, the biggest thing for us is the parking, overflow parking for the training facility.
Any questions? Any questions? All right, but this is not gonna be on the agenda, is it?
I don't believe we'd have the contract ready for Thursday night, so no, it would be next month. So if you have any questions over the next, several weeks, feel free to ask, and we'll have to write up the contract and everything involved there.
Excellent, okay. Moving right along, discussion, motion to approve a right-of-way agreement with Windstream KDL, Inc. for the placement of poles on Jefferson Pike.
Mayor, this company, Windstream KDL, approached us because they have a need to move some of their lines, actually one of their lines, on Jefferson Pike. There is a map in the packet that shows the area. It's not too far from the intersection with Old Nashville Highway. And then the following page after that is more of a detailed drawing of exactly what they're doing. They're essentially going to install 2 telephone poles and attach approximately 580 something feet of line to that. It's fiber that connects one of their cell towers to whoever they connect it to. This is a private company. They don't provide services to the public. They provide services for other businesses or like cell carriers, things like that. So they're wanting to use our right-of-way, and we've never done anything like this before that I can find as far as having a separate agreement to use our right-of-way. Of course, we have franchise agreements with Comcast and TDS and AT&T to allow them to use our right-of-ways. And of course, we base the pay to the city, the compensation to the city on their revenues. Well, it's kind of hard to do that in this situation because they don't really have customers in Laverne. So we're trying to work that out. There are several items in the contract itself that we're trying to work out between the 2 parties. Here again, I don't think this will be ready for Thursday night. We wanted to make you aware of what we're looking at, and that this may be coming back before too terribly long.
So this is one of the fiber optic lines.
It's a fiber line that connects up to the cell tower down towards the end of Jefferson Pike.
Okay, here's our thing. How long, and if we ever widen Jefferson Pike, are we right back into the middle of, like we were on Waldron Road and?
Well, of course, Waldron Road, that was an underground fiber line, where this is on a telephone pole, but
It's the
the
same.
poles would still have to be moved.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, it's the same theory.
Yeah, that's kind of what
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of got to y'all. They contacted me a while back. Basically, it's no good, and I told them pretty much no, they can't because they can get on Comcast or somebody else that's got an agreement with us and share their poles, but they said they can't get them worked out. So if they said you can't do that, you want to get an agreement. So then that's whenever they started this agreement. And that's what you probably want to keep in mind is the more utilities you allow in your right-of-way, the more, if you widen your roads or anything else, you're gonna have to maybe pay in the future because they're gonna ask if, let's say you allow this to happen, they put it in the right of way, you widen the road and the sidewalk's gonna go there and they have to move it, they're gonna ask you to reimburse them for their relocation costs. So it's one thing you wanna keep in mind, especially on the front end, because you'll definitely wanna get some kind of compensation from them to be able to use the right of way, probably either on a yearly basis or something. If not, I mean, they can easily approach the property owners to try to get an easement, but they may not be able to get one there either, so they'd probably prefer, or they might prefer to pay a yearly fee or something, but, so always keep that in mind. If they do widen, they will ask for relocation costs for sure.
Any questions? Okay, well, this won't be ready for so. Okay. Next, get into some fun stuff. Discussion farmers market from the Parks and Recreation Advisory Committee.
This is something we've been talking about at the last couple of meetings, and we've actually, Jason Cole has headed up our information gathering on this. And Jason, if you want to come up and share anything that you have found out as far as what we're trying to do, we want to get y'all's thoughts on whether, you think it's a great idea, or, Evan, if you know of anything that could go wrong on this, so.
Board, this is basically a venture for Parks and Rec to bring a farmer's market to the city and provide farm fresh produce to the residents. You're going to see fresher foods. Typically, you're going to have better pricing than supermarkets with farmers markets. You're also going to see a larger variety of seasonal food. And then you've also got social engagement. You've got people interacting in a community and engaging each other. Money you will see as far as staying local, because a lot of the farmers are local. You don't see, national ones. We've talked to different groups as far as farmers all throughout the area. Quite a few of them are interested. Some still have many questions about it. And I've expressed interest in doing a night market, like an evening, late afternoon, during the weekday, to provide people who are going home opportunities to basically have their goods. But we're getting a lot of positive response. I know I've mentioned it to some people out in the community, and people are excited and like the idea.
Well, y'all, we've been playing with this. I know Parks and Rec for, a couple of years now. Really wanting to do something like, where, have y'all thought about where?
Well, we've talked about up in the parking lot at Veterans, and also maybe even back here behind City Hall, where there's a good, access to get in and out pretty easily. So, we even kicked the idea around at the land across from the Civic Auditorium. So there are several options. It's just what's going to work best for us.
I mean, I would love to see this. Of course, we need to, get Evan's opinion on our, how we want to do things. I guess check with TML as far as liabilities and stuff like that. But that would be nothing more, I would think, Evan, you can stop me if I'm wrong, than having the old timers.
Right.
I think it would be fantastic myself. Like I said, I know we've tossed this around for several years, and I know y'all been actively working on it now for a couple of years in Parks and Rec, so advisory board working on it. Any questions? Tom, I know y'all been.
No, I think you hit everything. We were just trying to find out locations, what we'd have to do as far as our existing ordinances, if it is a possibility, if we could use city parking lot, park, whatever. But I agree with everything everyone's saying. Anyone we've talked to really has loved the idea and looking forward to the possibility of getting it here. So.
That sounds good.
I think even if we started small with maybe 3 or 4 or 5 vendors or whatever, that'll attract more people, and there'll be more interest, maybe from local people who do their own growing would like to get involved with it. I think that's going to be the better way to go.
If I could throw one more thing out there, I think Smyrna just started theirs. Was it this year? They have one up on Front Street every other Saturday.
Yes.
I know Murfreesboro does it, I think, the opposite Saturdays. Antioch has one. So we our residents, if they are going to get farm fresh produce, are actually having to travel. So it'd be great to bring something else here.
I think it's a fantastic idea. So what do we need to do from this point?
Well, we were kind of wanted to bring it in front of the board to see if it's everyone's wish that we go forward. I guess we probably, I don't think Evan's got enough on his plate after tonight. He had about, but if he could look back and look and see what we need to do, if there's any ordinances that need to be changed. I also want to throw something else out there. Deb Balthorpe, which is one of our Parks and Rec advisory, she has really been researching some grants, and there are some existing grants out there. The problem with they have a window, and you have to be up and running. But she wanted to be here tonight. She couldn't make it. But there are some things that, again, would even limit any cost to the city at this point in time. Eventually could maybe get us a permanent spot somewhere in the city. So.
I like it. Well, just let us know what this board needs to do to move it forward.
If everyone's positive about it, we'll keep working on it, keep moving forward, and maybe come back. And we'd like to get something started by, we said, like by spring, even if it's something small. So if everyone's good with it, we'll keep pushing along and bring something back very soon.
I think it'd be good.
I mean, we could try a location, and if it doesn't work, then we can always move it somewhere else. But
right,
that's the big thing, I think, picking a location and going ahead and committing and doing it.
I agree.
Okay, and we'll move forward with it then.
Sounds fun.
Okay.
Thanks.
We can get some fresh vegetables.
That's right. All right, next. This is another thing that we've been tossing around for quite some time.
And while we still have you here, Evan, so.
Yes, that's right.
We're talking about the idea of a splash pad. Did you have slides on that?
We need some.
We're not looking for anything huge or fancy, just something basic, and I don't even think we're looking at a theme at this time. Kathy, you and David and Julie met with somebody, I believe, was it yesterday? I have been out, so I wasn't here for that meeting, but maybe you can.
It's good to have you back, too.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Maybe you can discuss that a little bit further as what we're looking at.
And David, hopefully you can come up also. We looked at the theme, again, nature type theme. They've got several themes available. You could, if you went to Veterans Park, you could pick like a sports theme or something like that. We kind of liked, if you go to, I think it's page 204, Glenn, that's kind of what the nature theme looks like. That's what they pulled, that's the design they did for White House. Clearly, we'd have to issue an RFP and get several people to bid on something. We'd have to provide a fence. We're talking about having recirculating water, which would be...
I think we'd have to surround it in a fence. If it's away from everything else, you're going to want to provide restroom facilities. But it's going to be a recirculating pump. That's going to be a necessity. And I think this is something that the community would really benefit from.
The kids would love
We
it.
don't have a place for young kids to go to take part in this. I think we'd probably be more likely to get this than we would ever a swimming pool. So
I think a couple of caveats with it. One, we think that if it was built, you'd have to have a part-time lifeguard there anytime it's open.
Yes.
You definitely have to have hours, you know.
Right.
And also, I don't know if everybody's familiar with Vic Young with Fisher and Arnold. He's helping with the safe room. He has said that he will help us he said it's a lot easier to get grants for this than it is for a safe room. So he's actually looking into that for us now. So we may get lucky.
Yeah, because look at what we did with the playground.
Well, and I think on this, the key words here are turnkey.
Turnkey.
Which is what everybody likes to hear.
Yes.
I think all we would really have to provide would be a water source and electric source. And of course, we'd have to contract the fence out.
Yeah.
And we're looking at a pavilion also to go nearby so that, you know, the parents and there's some shade to get people out of the heat.
I think this is an awesome idea. I'd like to see the board approve us to move forward with at least trying to find the grants and funding for it.
And what we're looking at is 5 to 8 above ground features, as you see here, and then as many ground spouts as we can possibly find. And if Glenn would scroll through, you can see the different types of ground spouts. I think that one's called a wave that you see up there now. There's like a water cage. There's, I think that's a water fountain. A water weave, yes. So there's all kinds of different, that's one where kids can spin the flower around. We did ask for them not to have water cannons where they can spray people walking by. And I know Julie really liked the frog feature that you saw there. Of course, we have cattails. If it
I love
ended up
the
in Veterans
cattails,
Park,
yeah.
we've got cattails there. We really like this. That feature, we think kids would really enjoy, something like that. And then we've also got, that's not the actual cattail cluster that we're talking about, but
Yeah, I saw it.
but kind of, and then that's called a flutterby ring, where kids can run through and you still have the butterfly. But again, we haven't picked, is it gonna be nature or sports theme? There's all kinds, you can go medieval themes.
And I
with
think
it.
what you're looking at here too is under $200,000.
This one that he proposed, I think, is 225.
Oh, is
We-
it? Okay.
We talked with another one who can do almost the same thing.
125, wasn't it?
It was 135. He didn't have that many great above-ground features, so we're asking him also for a comparable. What would a 200,000 splash pad look like?
And everybody that knows about Smyrna's, they know how successful that
It
is.
is
It is
huge.
packed all the time.
My
And with as many
grandkids
kids as
loved
we have
it.
here, yeah.
And you may remember, we had a grandmother.
And her little
And her,
grandson,
yes,
yeah,
he
that's
actually
right.
came to visit me. I mean, they need something like this here. I mean, and if we can get a grant to pay for it.
Right.
And again, for Garland and Kyle, turnkey. Turnkey.
Yeah, we saw the sweat pop out
Yes.
on your too.
Yes.
But Kyle, we're gonna want you there just in case, all right?
But at this point, all you're asking for is just permission to move
Yeah.
forward and hunting for money.
That's it.
Yes.
Any questions?
Good idea.
I think it's a good idea too. Let's see what
Thank
we
you.
do.
Thank you.
All right. Last but not least, discussion proposal from Severn Trent to provide water billing software and mailing services. As y'all all know, we've been going through this now. We've gotten some things straightened out. Now we're down to the software with our water billing. We're using ancient billing. I think that's where a lot of our problems is coming in. Because our software is not able to keep up, and we're 2.5 to 3 months behind in our billing. So I contacted Jill Ashay here and asked her to please give us a call, do something. Her and Bruce got together, and that is why she is here today to discuss a proposal to hopefully can get this water billing software and mailing services straightened out for us. So I'm going to turn it over to you ladies.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for having us on the agenda tonight. With me, I have Rita Verona, our Billing Services Regional Manager. And she's going to go over the PowerPoint, but in addition to that, you have a hard copy, which is a detail of our billing program. The PowerPoint, we took the highlights from the detail to make a PowerPoint for talking points, so you can use the hard copy as a reference. I'm not the guru, so I'm going to let Rita take over.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity to talk to you about our billing system. I was here a couple of years ago, about 2 years ago, and heard some of the same problems that you're having today. Some of those problems being incorrect posting, customer complaints, the system is not user-friendly, there's no proration, so if a customer moves in, they're billed for the whole month versus just the number of days that they were actually there. And I'd like to show you a little bit about our billing system, tell you first of all about my staff, about the system that we have, and some of the features that I think would be a benefit to both the customers and to you all. Severn Trent's billing system. First slide. Thank you. Okay. We've been providing billing system for various municipalities and private sectors for over 30 years. We're very well known in the industry, and currently we're serving over 260,000 accounts nationwide. My staff is located in Sarasota, Florida, and they have an average service years of 25 years, so they've been doing this a long time together. with the staffing that you would receiving if you decided to go with our billing system is we have a full-time programmer that is housed in Sarasota, so that if there are any billing issues or concerns regarding any programming, he's always available, as well as we also have a system analyst. So it's basically a one-stop shopping. You don't have to go to different vendors for different things. Everything is done in-house with us. Our billing system is an IBM i-Series, which is also known as an AS400. Some people call it a blue screen. I know there's a lot of different variations out there now with the billing system, but this is a very, very solid system, which I'll talk about in a little bit. Our version is 7.1 with a release 1. The software that is actually used is an IBM Client Access. The system internet connection is used using the SSLs. Customer service reps can connect via the internet. We retain, one of the biggest things that I think that our billing system can do that I think is very important is we retain 5 years of billing history. And what that means is any dollars amount that is billed, any adjustments that is billed, and in addition to that, we also keep 3 years of customer usage regarding the meter reading, the dates, and what the actual usage was, which is basically what brings in your revenue. And these are the features that we feel are very important for the accounting department. And understand that right now that's a big problem in your area. Our system is designed for utility billing. Over the last 30 years that we've been providing this, we have specifically listened to our various clients' needs, and we can customize pretty much anything to what a particular client wants. Some of our accounts can bill up to 6 meters at one time. We also have what's called the CAS certified database, which is in compliance with the United States Postal System. And so every system, every address that's added into the system is immediately verified against that, and that creates bills coming back that have incorrect addresses on them and so forth. And we also use what is required, an intelligent mail barcoding. So let me tell you basically how the system works, and then I'll go into some of the features. It's very simple. On a desktop, laptop, the software would be installed. Your CSRs can just access it, or anyone that you want to have access to even view it alone can access it via the internet. Our system is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Every night, though, typically around 15 minutes, we do a backup. So if someone goes to make a payment online, they may find that the system is temporarily unavailable. It will tell them that, but then within the 15-minute time frame, when we say 15 minutes, it normally takes less, but we want to make sure that they're aware and why the system is down. We do that because we want to make sure that the data is backed up every night for you. Every customer service rep that would have access to this system is given a specific ID that they use, and it's only for them. And with this ID, why it's so important is that the system tracks everything that is entered into that system, so that at any point in time, if you needed to go back and say, why was this changed, who did it, what date, what time, all of that information is stored. In addition to having that identifier for each customer service rep, you also have the features of making sure that certain reps have access to certain systems that you want them to, and if you have somebody, let's say new, that's still in training and you don't want them to do adjustments, or you just want this one person, you can customize that as well. Again, every change in our database is recorded, and there's a transaction line, a log that is stored, so we can go back to see as far back as, I think, 10 years of who made what change to the system. Payment data is recorded and balanced daily. And what this means is that any money that is taken at any point in time, you can run a report on. So if I'm, let's say, a teller at the window, and I'm taking payments, I understand now you do batch payments. As those cars drive through, you can go ahead and take those payments and post them right away. It's a live system. What happens is if that person goes to lunch and you want to make sure that they balance out, they print a report right there, they go into the system, they run a report, they can balance right there and then. When they come back after lunch, if they want to pick up, you can do that again. If you want to change people at the window, it's all recorded. The next morning, the financial department will receive a report of all monies taken by the account numbers and dollar amounts, and it's a breakdown of all monies received. At the end of the month, you receive a report which is called a monthly activity report. And anything that is coded in that system is, as we call it, buckets. It's broken down by buckets. So you'll know your adjustments, you'll know how much money you collected for water, revenue, sewer revenue broken down by base. However you want it, it's recorded. And it's also recorded by meter size as well. Let me talk a little bit about the benefits, and you have another package here, but I'm going to key on a few that I think are really important so that you truly understand, if you decide to go with this, what you're getting and why you need it. There are a lot of billing systems out there, but you need to have a utility billing system. And from what I've heard, I don't think you have that right now. And I think that's why you're having the problems that you're having. One of the key features is that it's got to be a live system, which means that at any point in time, you can balance. If a customer says, I gave this rep a $20 bill, and the rep says, no, I only got 10, you can shut that window at that point in time, and you can identify that by balancing out your cash store. Prorating, that's very, very important, okay? Customer moves in, and I understand you have a high turnover of rentals here. And I also understand that you read the meter today, but you don't bill for like 4 to 6 weeks later. That's a huge problem. Because if I'm a customer and I have a leak, or there's something going on with my water that I'm not aware of, you just invested into AMR, which is the way to go, and I want to compliment you for doing that. It's today's technology. But you have this system, and you're not utilizing all the benefits of it. The system is designed so that you can let your customers know if there is a problem and identify it. It's designed so that if they're disputing what they pay, you can let them know right there and then. But if you're not billing them for weeks later, that's a problem. If you're a customer, that's a problem. So with our system, what we like to do is to go ahead and we like to read the meters, send it out the next day for what we call prelims or rechecks to check those meters. You can set your parameters in the billing system of what you want to check because every client has different parameters, you know, as far as check this meter so many months, zero usage, whatever it may be, if you have seasonal customers or what the average usage is. And then you can bill them. And you need to bill them immediately. Because the sooner that you bill them, that's typically what a customer looks at is their bill. So my first recommendation to you all, and I was asked to give you my opinion, and I've been doing this for probably now 33 years. My opinion is no matter what system you go with, if you stay with your own, if you go with ours or anyone else, you need to change that billing. You need to bill right away, okay? It's the right thing to do to the customer, and it's the right thing to do for you all, for the city of Laverne. Let's see some of the other features that I can tell you about. On our system, we have what's called a RAID hot spare, and what that basically means is that if that hard drive fails, the system keeps running. It doesn't go down. Our system is very reliable. The only time we've had to reboot it in the last 20 years was 5 years ago, and that's because we moved the server. And because we moved the server, that's the only reason why we had to reboot our system. Again, our system has been created over the last 30 years based on our customers' needs. And that can be anything from showing water usage, sewer usage, gas, electric. We've had cable TV on there. We've had sales tax, administrative fees. And the billing is designed so that it can print out each line so that the customer knows specifically what they're paying for. I've already talked about the number of years here. And I'm going kind of off the sheet, but I'm just picking up a few of the highlights. Again, one of the things that I heard is the balancing, is your reports. At any point in time, whoever the user is has a series of reports that is designed specifically for utility billing. And if there's a specific report that you all want here, we can help you design that. So at any point in time, you don't need to call your vendor and say, can you send me this report? You can pull that report yourself. If the report isn't out there, but you want to look at some data, and I heard you mention that you might be doing a rate analysis, we have a system designed where we can pull all that information for you to help you do a rate analysis. Let me see what else I can tell you about this. I believe you don't have deposits here right now, but the system is designed as well that if we accept a deposit for a customer, we can give that deposit interest. Some of our clients want to do that. We can also hold deposits on records. We have a lot of clients that have what they call seasonal customers. I'm from Sarasota, Florida. So in Florida, we have a lot of snowbirds up and down. And they come for several months at a time, and they rent out their homes quite a bit down there. So if they are renting out their homes, they have a renter coming in, they don't have to put up a deposit every time if that particular client requires it. We can hold that deposit on record, and every time that their tenant moves out or their snowbird goes home, we hold that deposit and can close their account, which is more convenient for the customer. Again, the system has been built over 30 years to meet the client's needs, but most importantly, your customers' needs, because without your customers, that's what we're all about. That's why we're here. There are multiple payment options that we have. We have online to where your customers can go out to a website. If you have a website, we can connect to your website so that they'll go out there and they won't know, but they're actually coming to our website behind the scenes where they'll be able to see and view their history. They'll be able to print out a duplicate bill if they want, and they can make payments online. These payments can be made through various ways. We take payments, let me see if I got this right here. Credit card payments can be through your debit or your credit card. They also have an opportunity to do what's called, I think you all call them an auto draft or easy pay. And I know right now you've had some problems with that. We haven't had any problems at all with that on our system, and it's recorded. The system is compatible with AMR, okay? And that's important because you've invested a lot of money in the technology today, but you've only used part of your technology. You need to make sure that if the volume of dollars that you've spent into your AMR project, that you're getting the most out of it. And I guess I have to ask you all, why did you go to AMR? What was your primary reason?
To keep up with our water usage.
Water loss, okay? Because water loss costs you, and it costs the customers. So again, I'm going to stress on that billing. You need to change that billing date. Now, I understand for many that would be an issue, because if you're billing a customer 30 days out, and now you want to bring them right to the same month, they're going to have a double bill there. You have several ways we can do this. We can either do it a little bit over time, but if you do that, then you're changing their billing dates, which most likely you do not want to do, because most customers are used to paying their bills at a certain point in time. What you can do, though, is give them notice ahead of time that you're changing your billing system, and those customers that need that extra time to pay, you can make a payment arrangement with them. And our system has a design in there, too, where we have a payment plan that you can go in and key there so that you can make payments. If you want to work with your customers there, you cannot charge them a late fee while they're doing this, so maybe have a month, 2 months for them to get caught up. But it's kind of like Jill and I talked about this today at lunch a little bit. You know, you can either pay something today by cash and be done with it, or you can pay it with a credit card. But what happens when you pay it with a credit card? After time, it just goes on and on and on, and you never catch up. So you're doing your customers a benefit by billing them the same month that they use the service. You're going to cut down on the volume of calls that you're getting, that I'm sure there's reps in here that's getting as well. That's going to save you not only on your billing system, I think, as a whole, but it's also going to help you with customer satisfaction, which I think is important to all of you, because it's election season, right? Okay. I love my billing system. I'm very passionate about it. I know I jumped all over. I'll stay later if anyone would like to ask me any questions. I've also brought my billing system here to show you how simple it is and how friendly it is. So if anyone would like to see that, I'm here all night. I got nothing else to do. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm going to turn it over to Jill.
If y'all had any questions, I can bring Rita back up to answer any questions.
I'll be happy to answer any.
So the annual fee that we came up with is $125,918 a year, and that's for a 5-year contract. We've got the upfront transitions cost built into that number, amortized over 5 years. That's how we get the number. You know, we can start 1st of January. We're figuring maybe a 2-month transition to transition the billing systems if you guys are interested in pursuing this.
I think it would be huge. Like I said, I know we need to work. I have a few questions, I guess, for Phyllis and Bruce. But our biggest issue is, I'm telling you, when people fill their pools in May and they're not paying for it until July or August, well, I haven't done anything in July. Well, no, that it is the hardest thing. And when you have leaks, if, like you said, we're already into it so many months, it's just, it's difficult. And we talked about this when we got the AMR system, that our software was old. And there was going to be issues. But here's my question. What do we pay Arista a year?
Arista and our local government support, it's about $91,000.
91,000. Okay. And then there's something else. Okay, I know what I was going to ask. The credit card. Now, do y'all charge people if they use the credit card with this system?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Like if someone wants to pay with a credit card, is there an additional fee?
There would be a fee, but the fee would be billed to the customer. It's called a convenience fee.
It's not billed to the city.
That's what we do. So do we pay them anything? Okay. Okay, that's what I was asking.
We use a company right now that we found to be most agreeable with our clients, and that it's called Point and Pay. And I believe if that you work with Point and Pay, depending on the number of bills that you have, they set their fee. It's not like a standard fee of 5% on the dollar amount and so forth.
It's based on the number of accounts that we have with them. So it's like a volume type.
They will ask you some questions as far as, how many delinquent accounts. They'll want some information from you so that they can really give you a fair price of what they think it's going to be.
Well, we can get back with the exact amount. I can get that for you.
And there was something else that was going to.
And this fee also includes the system, the bill printing, and the mailing.
That's what I was going to ask.
That's everything.
The mailing is in with our Arista too. Okay. And, but still, I mean, we're mixing, I think, again, apples and oranges here. But I just wanted to show, my point being that what we're already spending for a backward system. I think Allison's can attest to some of the problems that we're having here. And, I mean, we talked, when Allison first came aboard with us, I mean, I've seen them many a nights having to literally hand put stuff into the computer with the AMRs. So
one of the points that Allison made, hi Allison, I'm Rita, nice to meet you. We spoke on the phone and, I asked her what was some of her concerns because I understand she wasn't here a few years ago. And then I took out my notes from a few years ago and saw the similar problems. But one of the biggest things that she said was that there's a lot of adjustments that need to be done. That takes time, but there's no way for her to track them. Who made this mistake? Why are we doing this adjustment? Our system does that. Okay, so it's a great system tool for training. You have someone maybe that isn't doing a process right. You can identify who made this error. What do you need to do to fix it? So it helps you also put good processes in place. You need those processes in place. Just so that you all know, I oversee meter reading, billing, and customer service for our Southeast region within our organization. I've been doing this for 33 years. 33 years, yeah. And I'm going to tell you, the system is solid. It's a very good system. And we'll be happy to give you references if you'd like to speak to any of our clients.
Now, does this also include online access for customers to be able to view their billing and things like that?
You missed that. Yes, it
That's
does.
something that we don't have, and, you know, we're talking a difference of 35,000 roughly from the 91 that we're paying now, and we don't have that.
And they have to get everything, yeah.
And they get everything, and so I'm not positive what the cost of website hosting or, you know, to have separate from that would be, you know, but it may very well make up that difference from what we're paying now versus what we would have with them, and then all of the added benefits that we don't have right now could probably make up that $35,000 difference. Because that's something that we're considering, or we're wanting to consider and offer in the future anyways. You know, we want to have an online payment system.
We're gonna have to find a new software,
Right.
period. It's here, it's now, it's coming.
Well,
So,
you went with an AMR system, okay? And you heard me say that I congratulate you for doing that. It's a lot of money to invest in that, but that's a wise choice to do that. The technology is changing out there. So you're going to have, as you see, more folks are going to want e-billing. More folks are making payments now on the website, on their iPhones, on their iPads. You have to have a system that's going to give you the capabilities to do that.
and staying current.
Yes.
I know, y'all, I keep pounding that home. Staying current is huge. I'm paying for what just like your electricity. You pay for what you use. And I think that's gonna eliminate a lot of the, not all, but a lot of the confusion right there. And being able to pull it in and put it in, right there, and get it done.
And then also, you know, I feel that the importance of it is having this live system. So, and I don't know if Allison heard this or not before, but you can balance at any point in time. So you yourself have access to the reports that it's your information. You shouldn't have to go to Arista or to whatever vendor that you have and say, we need these reports. You should be able to pull them. And we can customize reports if that is a need.
So what do we do from this point?
The first thing we would need to do is get an amendment written up. Of course, Jill mentioned that they based these numbers on a 5-year proposal, essentially. Currently, we are in year 2 of our 3-year extension with Severn Trent. So February 1st of next year, we'll start the 3rd and final year. So we will need to do an amendment to extend that to include the remainder of this 5 years. So it will have to go through another 4 years, essentially, to keep our services with Severn Trent. So we have to get the amendment written, get all of that prepared. We talked about some of those logistics this afternoon. Obviously, we have 12,000 customers currently. 3, 4, or 5 years from now, we could have 15,000. I mean, there's no way to know right now if we continue to grow. So that's one thing we have to work out, is all the logistics of the amendment. We would also have to do a budget amendment because obviously we only had $91,000 roughly in the budget for local government and Arista. We're talking 126 here, so we'll have to look at that and do a budget amendment.
Well, that's out of the water and sewer.
And that would be out of the water and sewer fund. And then, you know, we'll have to work on the time frame for the switch over. I know that Jill mentioned January the 1st. I think it might be better to do that on February the 1st, and so it would coincide with the new year with Severn Trent.
That would work out too. It would take us that to get it
That would be
worked
smooth
out.
as-
That would give us plenty of time to work out the bugs and make sure we can get everything switched over smoothly and figure out what we're going to have to do for policies and procedures, because I know some of that's going to have to change as well, and work out what our plans are going to be for that initial billing that goes out. So those are the two main areas that we've got to look at is the budget amendment and then the amend the existing agreement with Severn Trent.
So my question being, I guess maybe Evans, do we need to vote to pursue looking into this further, getting this, I mean, we're not, like he said, once, he's still got to get all the amendments and all of that worked out. But do we need to take a vote for them to continue moving forward to get us to that point?
I don't think you need to. I think it'd be a good idea. Just give everybody the signal if you're interested in doing it, so people are operating under sort of a good faith basis if the city's interested. But I don't think you're required to do that.
But, so we probably would just say, like we're doing, just to
Right.
move,
We're gonna
like with
authorize-
the flea market.
Correct.
I mean, it's much bigger, but still, but it's same theory.
Same concept.
They know that we're serious, continue looking.
And what Jill and I had talked about was having a special meeting in a couple of weeks. I think we looked at Monday the 20th,
Think so.
that afternoon, possibly having a special meeting. We should have the amendments ready by that time, and that way we can go ahead and get that process started. And that would give them plenty of time to work on what they need to, as well as us. So that's why I mentioned earlier the possibility of a special meeting and possibly having it on that day. But I'll get with each one of you as far as scheduling and make sure we can nail down the right time for that. So we don't really have to have a motion Thursday night. If all of you seem okay with what we're looking at so far, we'll proceed and get everything written up, and then decisions can be decided on that special meeting.
Well, like I said, we've had this discussion, even with the AMRs, but we just had so much to fix at one time, and I think now we're getting it, we've got our plan, we're sticking to our plan, and it's working. And so now it's time to bring the software up to speed with it too.
Mayor, I'd like to add, I think one of the biggest advantages of this is going to one system. Right now, we have credit card payments with one system.
Yep.
We have online payments with one system. We have, what's the other one?
Well, then our billing, our printing, and
We have Arista that prints our bills. We have local government that we provide the file to Arista, and that's where we have a lot of problems, is either the file will get corrupt, or we'll send a file and need to make a change to the file, and we can't, and then data goes out that we wish we could have changed. And so getting everything in one system would be...
That'll be huge, and again, I think that the customer, the citizens, I think will be much, much happier knowing now exactly what they're paying for each month.
Bruce, we do need to look and see if we have a contract with Arista.
Yeah, because
Yes.
there's lots of complaints out there.
And I understand.
I do
I
too.
understand them.
I do.
And so now we're trying to fix it. And this has been a long time coming. We just had to get some other things straightened out prior to, but now we're ready for this. So, any other questions? Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
And Jill, welcome, welcome. She is now our regional
Manager.
manager.
Yeah.
So we get to see a lot of Jill, yeah.
Yeah, I look forward to working with y'all
All
more
right.
closely. Thank you. Ivy's happy.
See your love.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
But just like I said, one phone call and you're always on it. So thank you very much for your
Thank you.
service.
Thank you.
Appreciate you. All right, down to Mayor and Alderman comments. Alderman Green,
Nothing.
you going to a drive-in? Got to go to the drive-in
Oh,
movie
I love
Friday.
drive-ins. Walk-ins or
That's right.
whatever.
Alderman Walter.
I'm good.
Alderman Broker.
I was just going to say, Friday night, what time again? 7 o'clock, and I don't think anyone's mentioned the name of the movie. So, what are we seeing?
It's going to be Monsters, Inc. What it is?
Uh-huh. Monsters University.
University, I'm sorry.
We've graduated.
I know.
Awesome, awesome. Well, I don't think we have anything else to announce, so. Oh, we do have, the forum for the candidates forum here at City Hall tomorrow. It does begin at 7 o'clock. So we'd love for everybody to come out. I believe it will be televised live as well. So please, if you got a few moments, come out, visit with everyone. And with that being said, I will call this meeting adjourned.